Welcome, ladies and gents, to what would be the final, but for us it is not. We do have one more race ahead of us, but it is round 14 of this WOR season in the Tier 3 category, and I'm once again joined by the man, the myth, and not really the legend, Epic Freestyler. How you doing, Epic?
That was just evil, but honestly, no, I'm good. It's nice to be back, of course. I commentated without you last week, which made me a bit sad, but it's nice to be back once again alongside you.
Yeah, it is always nice to be back, and if you think about China, you ditched my ass, so I had to do it. I wasn't alone. I brought in some good acquaintances and made sure everything keeps going accordingly. But talking of keeping things going accordingly, last week's race didn't go as planned.
No, it didn't, because damage was off, and we had a couple of issues, quite a lot of issues, and so sadly we're going to have a rerun of that race, which is going to come after this race.
Yeah,
and so it's a bit disappointing. It felt like a little bit of a waste of commentating, but it's okay.
It's not necessarily like a waste of commentating, it's a waste of racing for these drivers, knowing that they've done all that work to then it count for nothing. Which then means that, because we did crown a temporary champion for briefly, which was Andreas Lopez, but he's now got to work for it again to try and claim his championship, which, realistically is not done. If he doesn't score any points here, the door is wide open once again for Thomas Laminen to get involved.
Yeah, I do feel a bit sad for Andres Lopez, because I would have liked to see him crown champion either way, but of course it's gone against him slightly, and I think he drove a great race though in Great Britain. I've got to give that to him. But yeah, for Thomas Laminen, this is a dream. It wasn't good last race, but it's like here he's just woken up from a dream, and it's true. And so I think this is going to be interesting though, because once again, it's basically going to be the same as it was in Silverstone, with the championship can still be won here. And so, but I do know, actually, I will tell you this, I do know Thomas Laminen is quite good here. And so that will work with him against Andres Lopez. And of course, because last race didn't count, this does mean still our good man Thomas Laminen could still get a hat-trick of victories, which would be very big for him, of course. First driver to do that in this tier, and the only driver who will be able to do that as well, which is it's just an even bigger thing, isn't it? To hold something like that.
It is a massive statement to say, yeah, I'm the only driver to be able to do this in that sense. So it's going to be interesting to see what they present, what they're able to do come into this race. I'm doing the maths in my head, and realistically, if Thomas Laminen scores points, and this is the critical section, if he scores points, he has a shot for the final race. If Thomas Laminen does not score any points, and Andres Lopez does, and at least scores more than 2 points, so that could be last with the fastest lap, or we're not doing fastest laps, aren't we? So yeah, essentially, if he scores ninth and above in this race with Thomas Laminen not scoring points, then we are crowning a champion here in Austria before we redo Britain.
Yeah, Thomas Laminen could win, and I don't want to sound biased here, but I do slightly want him to win, because he's had such a great comeback. Come on, we all love the underdog. Like that's just a general thing. But I mean, Thomas Laminen, I think he deserves this championship just as much as Andres Lopez does, because they've both fought so hard. Andres Lopez has been more consistent, but Thomas Laminen has shown more pace on average, which is something. And so there will be that will be something, won't it?
Absolutely, and we've seen Laminen, be that aggressive driver. You said about the pace being up there, and I can definitely agree with that. Laminen has definitely put in the work to make sure he is the fastest driver on track. but as his stats show, 15th. We got a lot of 15th. I'm looking at points. 3rd, 4th, then 2 DNFs, 5th, a win, 5th, 2 DNFs, and then 2 wins in a row. So it's been high scoring points, but there's just 5 DNFs that stand strong. Meanwhile, there's only 2 DNFs, 1 race loss from Lopez, and then a good consistency of being on the podium. But talking of other drivers, actually, who realistically still have a shot here, is Alexander Dimas as well, because statistically speaking, again, if Lopez does not score points and Dimas does win, he closes that gap right into play. He's now then in that championship fight coming into Britain in the next race. So
I don't think he's here today.
Is he not?
No, I think he's not here. It doesn't show that he's here. No, he's not.
Oh no, Dimas!
But we are going to get into the action in a minute, so this is going to be quite interesting.
Dimas had it.
Quickly.
Yeah, if Dimas was here, I was like really bigging him up for the moment. And once again, I big up somebody and it doesn't happen.
Yeah, but
take a look at your Hansen.
It was very. You've got to be honest though. It was still quite unlikely that Andres Lopez will make such a big mistake at this point. We know anything could happen, but still, it's the point of how, he's going safe for this championship. He just wants to secure points. Score more points, of course, but than Thomas Laminen. But, it was more sort of, I just want to be able to get those points, and then I'm okay.
Yeah, and
that's all he has to do.
Yeah, he just needs to play safe than sorry. And as mentioned, Laminen essentially needs to go P9 and above, and he has secured the championship for... no, he hasn't. To secure... Actually, I need to sit down and do the maths to see...
It's 26 points. So, basically, he can still... Even if it stays the same points, the next race, he can still win the championship. Well, he can equal and go ahead. But, if he scores 1 more point than Andres Lopez, there is a chance of a championship going into next race, basically.
Yeah, absolutely. And I do apologise for the stream. It seems like my game capture is not working. What is happening?
I will go in for you while you sort this. I'll just follow everything. First driver out on track is our championship leader. One of our favourites to this championship, Andres Lopez. I mean, there's not many words for this guy, is there? He's really been consistent this season. Start of the season wasn't great for him. But it's like he just, within the space of literally 2 races, he changed that round, and he's been the most consistent driver this season by far. The likes of even Alexander Dimas, even though he's been unlucky at times, even when he was consistent, he still struggled to beat Andres Lopez.
Yeah,
but it's difficult.
Absolutely, it really is, and as we've been talking about him a lot, and I don't think there really is much more than you can say about Lopez today. Then let's see what he does. And I'm just going to let you know, those clouds aren't looking too pretty in the stream. I have got it fixed, and I do like to apologise once again. It ain't looking pretty. As we're going to ride on board. Epic, take it away.
So here we go. Out of the last corner, very good from Andres Lopez. He's got to be careful. If he has slightly cold tyres, he will lock up and go straight on. Now into turn 1, braking at about 70 meters into turn 1. Very nice, very good. He might find some traffic on this lap. And onto the second DRS straight, we get a nice hat trick of DRS zones here at the Red Bull Ring. Into the hairpin, the most difficult corner, I'd say, for braking. But he gets it very nicely. 4th gear off the exit. He holds the exit, it's very good. But still a little bit worried about that car in front that might get in the way. Now into turn 5 here. Nice right-hander, very strange corner, very unique corner, I would say. It's probably the most unique corner there is out there. But into the double left-hander, long left, followed by another long left that's slightly different though, as this is actually a bit longer and quite a bit faster as well. So now, into the final 2 corners, of course, 2020 qualifying, we saw a lot of incidents here. And now coming into these last 2 corners, it's very good. He's right up to the line, into the last corner. Can he get it right? Oh, he's gone a bit over. there he has backed off on his lap.
Yeah.
That he just pushed a bit too much.
Yeah, according to WOR rules, you have to back off the lap if you do not, if you cross over the white line. But realistically, Lopez actually consistently went. So this is a case that he could press forward and go, hold up, he crossed over the line. Of course, that also depends on what track limits the stewards will be monitoring as well. So Laminen might have a shot here to give Lopez a qualifying ban if he wants to be that guy. But that being said, Laminen has put himself on pole temporarily. And who else is big and bold on a strong lap? We're gonna look at
Talashi. He's looking good. He's very confident in that Haas today.
Yeah, the Haas is looking strong. Rounds the final 2 corners. That will be turn 8 and turn 9. I believe those are those numbers. I don't actually have my track map out. And
oh, he's invalidated.
It's so easy to do on the exit of that corner, though. It really is.
And there's an AlphaTauri off. Sorry, there's an AlphaTauri off, and that's Andres Lopez, who was on a flying lap there, and he spun it off. It looks like.
Now, Alexander Johansson has turned around to me today. He has messaged me going, Hyper, today's the day. Today is the day I'm going to get you that win. Because throughout this whole season, if you are new to Tier 3, the standing joke is me and Johansson, we are friends. We are very friendly. But Johansson, and I bigged him up at the start of this championship. I said, keep an eye on this man. He will surprise you. And he does things like that to then disappoint me. He's invalidated his lap. So I'm waiting for the day that my words of how brilliant this man is going to actually come true. Or if I am forever going to be disappointed by the performance of Alexander Johansson.
Well, he's got another race after this to perform, so he might have a chance.
The key word in that sentence is might. How realistically that man has got it now. As Corder, I believe, will be... I think he was pushing on that lap. Yeah, he was, but he invalidated once again. So, Corder not having the greatest time for himself. He's normally a punchy man, but he usually leaves it at the last second.
Yeah, I've got to say, I'm currently on board with the man we've just been talking about, Alexander Johansson. He invalidated his first run. He's gone for another. No, it's looking all right.
Flashing red light at the rear. He's turned off his ERS.
What? No, he's out of fuel. That's what I just realised.
Oh, just to add to the more humiliation of Alexander Johansson. The roast of Johansson.
We're just making scripts here, just to remember for
next week. This has all been scripted, by the way. Like we fully know what's going to happen to Johansson's race. He's going to become dead last and fail to impress me. I'm like one of those fathers who just, you have to do a lot to impress me.
Yeah. By the way, we're also getting quite strange things here, where it's saying that drivers are out on a lap when they're out on an out lap, and it's saying they are driving a lap right now, but they're not. I'm on board with Tuomas Laminen. We've said about him in that lovely Red Bull. No bias there.
But... very much biased with that sentence.
Yeah, very much. Can't blame me if I'm a Red Bull fan. It's not my fault. But honestly, I don't have many words for Tuomas Laminen because he just excels this season. It's like he started well. He struggled for quite a few races, as we both know and we've spoken about. But it's just like he's just turned into almost a bit of an Andres Lopez all of a sudden, where he's had this really dominant space with pace, racecraft, everything, and he has a bit of a slide and he's backed off. But yeah, like I was saying, it's quite strange with him. I almost find it a little bit funny with him because it's like one race you will see this man going fastest, pole position, winning, like he did back in, what was it? Was it Imola, I believe? And then I think Imola, I believe so. But yeah, and then he went into some other races before that where he was up there, but he struggled in the races. We see Tim Bayer goes into 1 minute 4.2.
Yeah, but watch out, Lopez. Lopez coming across the line. 1 minute 4.09. So we're going into the 103 soon. And I literally we were speaking about Johansson just a moment ago. He's just messaged me again going, watch this, we're getting a pole.
He said that like 3 times.
Yeah, but he's messaged me on Steam. So this has popped up on for me. And I've physically seen that he's going to go pole. So you know what? No pressure, Johansson. The world's watching. You better put on the pole lap as we ride on board with him. As he gets a fairly decent exit. He possibly could have pushed that car a bit wider, but decides to play it safe than sorry. Use as much of the entry curb as possible, and it's a risk and reward to cut that first corner. You see a lot of drivers tend to not play with that because it bounces too much and slows you down. But Johansson using a little bit where he can. Again, use as much of the outside curb. You see more cutting on the inside to get that more aggressive line. But again, Johansson choosing not to, playing this lap a bit safer than normal. Coming into turn 5. Good exit, hold the traction. It's quite easy to oversteer. Wheel spin on the exit of the corner before you swing it round into the infield. And again, he's not using any of the curbs that's going to compromise the exit onto turn 7. And through turn 8, carry a lot of speed, shift down a quick gears with a tap of the brake, and again through the final corner, has Johansson proved us wrong, coming across the line, 103, 104, second! Oh, okay! Hello, Johansson has come out to play.
That is a good... To be honest, that is a good first lap, because that's his first actual timed lap. And to be honest, he's ahead of Tuomas Lamminen. I did not expect that, because Tuomas Lamminen was, I believe he was talking about his times in time trial, and they were like fastest they were faster than Andres Lopez. And I was like, yo, this guy's getting pole. But today, Alexander Johansson, the man, yes, that we've mugged off for half of the season, for the whole season.
Whole season, please, thank you.
Yeah, next season as well.
Yep.
And he just goes and just shows what his ability is. I mean, I've got to say here, there's no mugging him off here. We can't say anything about that, because I was looking at those sector times and I was like, he might actually go fastest. And I was on edge. I was on the edge of my seat, almost falling off, and I thought he'd gone pole for a second, provisional pole, but no, he just missed out. But that was a very good lap still. I've got to give that to him.
Yeah, I definitely pointed out a few areas that he could look to improve. There was especially the compromise on the exit of turn 6, where he just wasn't capitalizing on the inside curb, and then going into turn 7, it gets a bit frisky there. So roundabout where Candy is coming up to these corners here, you need to make sure you do get a bit aggressive, because you can see you do run quite deep and wide. The difference between the AlphaTauri driver and the Haas driver here clearly showing. So there are room to improve. And has Candy improved for himself? Comes up to the line of the 103, dips into the 104. Not much. He actually gains time, which is not what you want to do here.
No, this is the thing. It's like, this track is like no other, because it's so short. The smallest of mistakes can cause you to lose out on not even, on 200s, and you're outside of the top 3. But I'm watching Tuomas Lamminen right now, and he is finding about a 10th, not on for pole, but at the moment he will go P3. But it all depends, because we saw him have struggle a bit in sector 3. Ooh, a little bit of sliding there, coming round the last corner. Very safe round the last corner, though. Not trying to push it too much in. Oh, that looked good. But it just felt like he lost a bit of time on that last corner. He didn't push it all the way there. So I think he's possibly lost that bit of time to both Alexander Johansson and Andres Lopez off of those final 2 corners.
Potentially. But look who's still sat there. His teammate is nice and happy in his position. And he's going to be proud of what he's done. I like to correct myself very quickly. I've been reading the wrong corner names. It's turn 7 and 8 I was referring to, not 6 and 7. There are 10 corners to the circuit. I don't count. Let's be honest. I don't count the little kink before turn 3. That ain't a turn. That is nowhere near a turn. So that's why my brain instantly said turn 6 and 7. But no, turn 7 and 8 was what I was referring to being a bit of a problem for the drivers not capitalizing on that pace.
Yeah. Andres Lopez, by the way, on his first lap, invalidated. And so he's having to go for a second run here on already bit-worn tyres, because it was only in the second sector that he had the invalidation. What was it? Thinking about turn 6 and... Is that 7 and 8, I believe? The two left-handers?
6 and 7.
6 and 7, there we go.
Get
Finally
a track
got it right.
map.
Mate, I've only got one screen, it's not my fault. But, yeah, so at the moment, pretty alright from Andres Lopez. He's a 10th up. He's going to dip into the 1 minute 3s. This could be a very fast lap and put him about 2/10 faster than anybody else. This would be massive pole.
I did tell you that we're going to be looking at 103s as Lopez will come around the final corner. What's it going to be? The 103.93. So that's a confident lap time by Lopez. And there you sat there saying, yeah, this is Laminen's track, but I'm not sure about that, Chief. That extra lap definitely brought some better heat into the tyres. And realistically speaking, I think a couple of drivers might opt to go for the double lap.
I have seen that it was Andres Lopez's first lap was on first run. So like just the out lap and then first run. That was it. And so that wasn't the bad part. The fact that he's found even more time, even going on that second lap still, he found more time in the lap. And that is what is going to be worrying to other drivers, that if he's not going to get back to the pits and back out again in time, I believe. But
be able to.
He might. I can't see the timer right now, so
3 minutes.
Yeah, so he might just be able to, but he'll be at the back of the field, and that's going to be risky. As we already see a lot of drivers coming out, and I just want to say something, that your man, although late to the session, Jerry Van Bussel's arrived. And so he's coming out for his first run in today. He's joined late, but that's okay, because sometimes you have no choice. But I'm expecting something good from Jerry Van Bussel, because this man, he's on fire with his form at the moment. You know, he's secured the win on first race here in Tier 3, which was really good. Against all the odds, he did it. And then, you know, is it just like medium and fast speed tracks that he's really good at? Because that's what I think what it might be.
Well, I remember the time, I'll bring it up, Jerry Van Bussel in Miami is a spectacular strategy call. Yeah, it only gained him one position. He didn't actually win that race, but he was in P3, and it was just out of nowhere, he decided, right, I'm going softs. At the very end of the race, it was the last minute call, and that risk pushed him up to second place and jumped the driver ahead of him. He thinks ahead, he thinks practically, which is why I do enjoy watching Jerry Van Bussel race, because not only is he a quick driver, he puts everything ahead of him. He looks at where he can gain and where he will lose and capitalize on all those gains. So he's spectacular to watch. And this is one person I will big and say confidently that he will shine. Okay, the last few races where he has appeared, he got a DNF in China, but he hasn't really had time to get grip with this tier, as there's a little bit of a rear end kick. He's only doing a one-shot quali for himself, so what can he do with the time that is remaining as he rounds, that'll be turn 7 on to turn 8, using as much of the curb as possible. And the final two corners, turn 9, turn 10. These are the areas you've got to be careful for. The invalidation is so easy to get as he comes across the line. P9, so it's decent, but there can be improvement. Johansson, he's... Actually, I don't think he's improved on his lap, but he has... he's not going to be able to do anything else on it. Laminen, is he on a lap? No, he's done, so... They've not been able to improve the top 3.
They have.
Well,
improved.
they've improved on their lap time, but not improved on
Yeah.
position. So it will stay as I'm trying to see who else is on a lap. Maloney is on a lap. No, he's not. He just finished it. So yeah, Lopez, Johansson, Laminen, Cordor, Maloney, Bayer, Santa Maria, Tristan, Van Bussel. Oh, the thing's over. Danny Coe 10th, Robert into 11th, Candy in 12th, Tolashi in 13th, Verga in 14th, Perez in 15th, and Kinty in 16th. And I think someone just jumped up as well, mixing up the order.
Yeah, definitely. I think that was that. I think that was I think it was Tristan, I believe, jumped up to P9. Yeah, it was Tristan who jumped up to P9. Cordor's on a lap though. Is he going to the end? Is he going to stop on his lap though? Let's see. Nope, he is going to the end. So let's see what Cordor can do, because he's improving by about a 10th on this lap. So he's going for it. Those last 2 corners were aggressive. Not bad. That's not a bad lap, to be honest. Danny Coe. That's it. That's qualifying. That's not bad. That was. You've got to talk about that pole.
No. Hold up. Johansson did something right. Yes. All this time of just pissing me off and not performing. This is the Johansson I talk about, finding himself a 2nd place. But let's not celebrate too soon.
That celebration was like just I was waiting for you to celebrate in some way, but I've got to give it to Johansson and to Laminen. That's a strong Red Bull 2-3. Because also in the last race, by the way, between Cordor and Andres Lopez, even though this was a single driver championship, Cordor still let Andres Lopez pass a bit more easily than maybe he should have. And so this does mean that the Red Bulls have split the AlphaTauris, and that's going to be something that could work for Tuomas Laminen, that maybe his teammate might let him by, because championship wise.
Nah, Johansson's not going to do it. He's out here for blood today. Johansson is set. We jokingly say that he's out here to get he was trying to get a win, but we push him down. No, Johansson genuinely is out here to win. He's wanting to claim what he has performed before. When I've commentated him before, he's been fighting at the top. He knows what to do in that position. He just hasn't had that opportunity. And usually because something has happened as well that has brought him down. And especially with the 2 front runners in this series that have been fighting amongst each other, there's a lot on the plate here. So that Red Bull is not an assistance to Laminen. That's probably a hindrance more than anything. Because, yes, Laminen is still in this championship fight, but it's not going to look pretty.
Yeah, it's difficult, isn't it? Because, it's a strange one. Because it's like, it almost makes you think, how will these drivers who aren't in the championship affect it? And that's all I've got to say, because I honestly, I don't know. I just don't know for the life of me.
It's going to be all coming down to this. We are on the penultimate race. If you've come from a different tier and you're wondering, why am I saying penultimate? We have to redo Britain. We have one more to come from it. Going home. It's coming home at the end. But is the championship going to continue to the end? Or are we finished here? We focus on the red lights all lighting up. Position 1 and 3, the front runners in this championship. The lights are out and we're racing in Austria, and it looks to be half decent from all the drivers. No one's really gained anything. Johansson still in 2nd place. He's got a good run, but he's gone wide. That's going to allow an opportunity for his teammates of Laminen. He's not going to say no to an easy opportunity. Up, down the inside, into turn 3 we go. The 2 Red Bulls slightly touch, but no major contact. And Johansson drops down, and a little bit of contact onto Cordor, and Cordor has to back out. But the top 4, the both Red Bull-owned teams, are still amongst each other. They're still trying to see what they can conjure. what they can push on each other. And I think someone's falling back. That'll be Tristan falling back to the grid. But that ain't a bad start. And Johansson is still on the attack. He's still wanting to see if he can take the position back from Laminen. Yes, he's in the hot seat. He's in the best seat ever when it comes to the race strategy later on. But not half bad. Is he going to look to go for a move into turn 1?
Maybe, maybe not. I think he's a bit far back, to be honest, without DRS as well. But this is very important, this race start for Tuomas Laminen, because like I was saying, you know, even though you might, you know, teammates might let each other by, maybe because of championship and they understand each other, or they might not, like you said. But this is the most important thing for Tuomas Laminen, is this has brought back the championship fight. As it stands here on lap 2, Andres Lopez will claim the championship here, but anything can happen at Austria. We know that from real life F1, and we know that as well from sim racing. You know, it doesn't matter where you see it, even if you're just driving in time trial, it's still a crazy track, as we see Jerry Van Bussel making a move.
Yeah, Jerry Van Bussel's right side by side with Santa Maria, and they're going to go around the outside of turn 6, and Jerry Van Bussel, he gained it after Santa Maria went wide, but he had to back out. He just did not have the rest of the traction at the end of it to fight back, and again, Johansson's really dropped down the pace. It got close to the Red Bull driver ahead of him. The two Red Bulls having a go, having a little scrap. And realistically, Johansson spent the fastest lap of the race as well, so he's pushing hard. No move into turn 1, that's not the right place to do it. But into turn 3, now this could be something. We're right on board as Ivan Santamaria and Jerry Van Bussel are trading positions as well. In down the inside, he doesn't outbrake himself, so he still has an opportunity on the exit. But actually, it's Laminen who's got the better exit of the two Red Bulls. He's looking at the AlphaTauri, the sister team. Nothing's going to happen there just yet.
No. Tuomas Laminen, though, he's looking ready. That Red Bull's looking angry, and it's looking fast. Because usually we see in races, because of dirty air in this game, because it became a lot stronger, you usually see the gap maybe open up to maybe about at least 8/10 by now, here on lap 3 at most tracks. But here at Austria, not just because it's the shortest track, it's also because the track is a lot open. It's a lot more open, and it's also a bit faster on average speed, and so it's not necessarily just corner entry and exit that you need. But we do still see Andres Lopez still pulling ahead slightly, and that is something to think about, because it depends how aggressive do you want to go, how much do you want to actually push the driver in front of you. Do you want to see him make a mistake, or do you just want to pressure him so he just fires up those tires a bit, overwarms them, and just they're overheated then, and they go all over the place. And that's the real strategy with these drivers, because we know from previous races that these drivers, they're not just racing, they're mentally battling each other as well with mind games and strategy, and that's what it's going to really come down to around this track.
Absolutely, it's going to be the thing that is going to be the key element, and also who's stronger in what section. Now, I've been monitoring the delta times between the driver ahead, and I can tell you for sure, Alexander Johansson, come turn 4 to turn 9, that's his strong point. He has got so much pace. He's able to close down onto Laminen, but then Laminen is able to extend himself come the big 3 straight. So that car really is set for straight line speed for Laminen. So that's something we're going to have to keep an eye on. Meanwhile, Lopez keeping a nice fair average around it all, but you can see the lap delta time, 0.1 of a second. You can see Johansson, he looked for it. He was thinking about it. He's not going to bump draft Laminen. He's going to conserve his wing, but it's not a strategy against. You might see a couple of drivers maybe bump drafting the driver ahead to get some extra speed. But again, Johansson stays behind now. Watch here. Watches Johansson and the time he gains through the sector. The confidence. And he's closing up. He keeps closing up.
Yeah, it's almost like he just has that confidence, and like you said, but also it just seems like he's just doing something, although it might be very small, but it just seems like he's doing, bit of a slide for Tumas Laminin there. I thought he almost went for a minute, and he's almost done it again. A little bit over-dramatized there, but still, he almost went on that second-to-last corner. I mean, his car was almost sideways, and he is sliding about quite a lot. But you see, this is going to be the important part here. Who's going to make a move first? Alexander Johansson on Tumas Laminin, or Tumas Laminin on Andres Lopez, because this is what it's going to come down to.
It is going to be...
It's risky. It's risky for all these people, because whoever makes a move first will then be possibly in a worse position when it comes down to DRS, or even just cornering. And so it's just a very close battle, because nobody has even split a second apart yet.
That is
in this entire
critical.
field.
That is majorly critical. It shows how brilliant racing gets onto Austria, because they're all so close. Why couldn't this be our actual season finale? That would be fantastic to watch. And I'm looking at the board. Everyone has potential to go for one another. And there you go, Johansson actually thinking of making the move into turn 9. He knows mentally and physically he's got the pace. That car is set up for cornering. He really could potentially make a turn 9 lunge, but you have to fully commit into turn 9 if you're going to do that. But within doing that, within making that little dummy move, that's actually allowed Cordor to close up a little bit further. It is small timings we're talking about, but it brings him into play. So this AlphaTauri sandwich is just going to get even more complicated.
Yeah, and like you said, the timings are close. But remember, the timings around this track are very short as well per lap. And so it's the shortest on the entire F1 calendar, if you remember. And so this is what's going to really matter today, is who is going to actually come out on top here, because it's not the timings, it's not, you know, how well you can overtake or anything like that. It's average pace, lap on lap, because we could see Andres Lopez, like his strategy has been in the last couple of races, push really hard for maybe 3-4 laps, get the gap out, and then just hold a better average pace. But round here you can't, because the track is so short. When you push really hard, you'll maybe gain 3/10, 4/10 over the car behind, but it's not the same as other tracks, and so you don't gain anywhere close to the out.
I'll tell you who has been gaining though. Jerry Van Bussel started down P10. Not the best qualifying, but his race pace is phenomenal. He's put himself up to P7. He's on the rear end of the McLaren of Tim Bayer, and he's going to be wanting to get past Bayer as well. He's got good pace, and he wants to make sure there's a car between himself and Candy, because Candy's running those medium tyres. And Candy hasn't gained anything yet. And I'll pull the statistics on the screen. There you go. Candy has remained in position, while Van Bussel has gained 3 off him. So, not working out for that medium strategy, but it also goes to show how even these tyres are, as Torlashi will be the first of the drivers to fall out of that second mark, as well as Perez. An incident we did not capture, but that is so unfortunate on this track, because once you're out, you kind of are out on this track.
I mean, we know DNFing is bad, but really, as soon as you're outside of, I would say, 2 seconds, you're done. Your race is done. Unless the drivers in front of you are battling a lot, you're done for the race, because although it's such a close track, it means it's so close on paces. I believe there's a move going on behind between Danny Coe and Ivan Santamaria, and Candy is going to be involved in this. Danny Coe's almost just done the double.
He nearly has done the double. Wow. And Danny Coe has shown off a fantastic move. One into turn 3, the other into turn 4. And I think there is actually a problem with Candy. I think he's got some wing damage that is meaning he's dropping back, because he's on those medium tyres. So not to take away from the brilliant move, but that was impressive to watch. And I think another move's about to mount up as well. Jerry Van Bussel right up the rear end of the McLaren of Tim Bayer, and he's still holding his ground. We're going to stick on board. We're coming into turn 1, and what can Van Bussel do here? He won't make the move necessarily here into turn 1, but he definitely 100% will try and mount a move into turn 2, and then use the DRS to pull away. Closing up into turn 3. Nothing here. Just yes, he is. That is late from Van Bussel. We're going to go side by side. It's now down to a drag race. Both drivers will get the DRS. But nah, Van Bussel has lunged it down the inside and said, thank you very much. I'm moving up the field. You can see Bayers. He was looking for it. He wanted that retake, but you got to hold back. You got to play it safe. No point losing your front wing over a position here.
100%. I mean, I've got to say, if that is, I mean, that is possibly one of the best overtakes of the season, in my opinion. I mean,
that was impressive.
That was like 300 meters back, and he goes for it. But honestly, very good move there, and very important move for Jeremy Van Bussel, because he is on fire in this race as he hits the curb slightly. But he's absolutely on fire today. He didn't qualify well, only 10th, and that was on one run, remember. So we've got to give that to him, one run. But here, he is coming back, but he might be under attack.
Yeah.
From the man he just overtook, the papaya car in the rear view mirrors. He's going to go for it. The papaya man of Tim Bayer round the outside. What can this
contact
driver do? Oh, it's close. It's a drag race. Let's see who can get this. Oh, Jerry Van Bussel's down to last 10% into turn 4. Still side by side. Oh, very close there.
All too close, but it's going to be that Jerry Van Bussel has to concede. You said it there. He ran out of ERS. There's not much you can do when you don't have that. You become a sitting duck on this track. So you have to be sure. And Van Johansson! Why? 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 3-second time penalty for Johansson. Always looking so good. The only way he can salvage this is under the pit stops and having a fantastic run, but this will mean that Johansson will have to push harder than he ever has before to make sure that he can pull a 3-second gap, because Cordor's going to stick with him. So he has to make a move, get past Laminen, get past Lopez, control the pace of the race, and then pull away when he rebuilds his ERS.
This is big though, because this means Cordor can now sit there and go, I know I can get into position, I just don't need to get a penalty. But then what he can do is he can pressure Alexander Johansson to try and then pressure Thomas Laminen more, as we see. Jesus, I just thought that Alexander Johansson, he's right there.
He is.
I mean, he was like 3 inches away from Thomas Laminen, which is very close. But Alexander Johansson, even though he's got a penalty, he does not care. He wants the track position. He still wants that chance.
He will go for it. They all will go for it. And I'm just looking. Johansson really has listened to me. He must be listening to the stream, because he has turned it up. He's looking to go for it. Tyres are looking fairly good at just under 28%. Even with the attack and aggression he's doing, his tyres are in a better condition than Cordor, the driver behind him. And that driver behind him hasn't been attacking as much. So what will Johansson do here? He's going to stick behind, stay in position for now, but yeah, he just doesn't have that traction on the exit initially to get past his teammate. So he's got to pull something out the bag. You can see he's trying to get Laminen to shape up in the wrong place, and this is where he's strongest. So realistically, stick close, put a move into turn 9. That is a potential option for Johansson here.
I do feel, though, Alexander Johansson, he's got to do something, because Cordor is just sitting there calmly, to fill the line, calmly sitting there. Although he's backing off a bit, he's like, no, I'm just gonna wait for you to make a mistake. He's got almost 100% ERS right now, and so he's just sitting there, calm as anything. He's like, yeah, I'm okay where I am. And so this is actually, I think, this approach that Cordor's having, where he's not using much ERS, he's backing off a bit, he's just being calm. That's going to worry Alexander Johansson that, you know, he could attack at any time if he really wanted to. And so we could see a bit...
Oh, contact! There's contact! Oh, it's with Thomas Laminen and Lopez. That has caused a little bit of a stir, a little bit of drama. But now Laminen is right on the rear end of Lopez. And potentially, with front wing damage, he looks to the inside. He doesn't do anything. How much damage has that caused on the Red Bull car? And Johansson would have seen this. He would have known that them two touched. Nothing will change just yet, but look at the gaps now. All close. And Cordor has also pushed up as well. He saw the incident, so he's making sure he's on the rear end, waiting for the pounce. And again, Johansson just trying to bait out Laminen. We'll see how much this affects, because once the next lap comes around, the next DRS zones, how much damage has Laminen done to his car? You can see how much closer Johansson is. Coming into turn 3, this is what matters. He's dropping off, and here it comes. Johansson, for a very long time, has been eyeing up this move. He looks, but he doesn't commit.
No, it's too risky because there's Andres Lopez there. So if he goes too deep, he'll hit into Andres Lopez, and that's not what he needs in this race. Also, I've got to say, though, Maloney. We haven't said about him today at all. I don't think we've even said about him once.
No, we haven't.
But he is just the dark horse in this race. He's just like, I'm waiting for you guys to do something. I'm waiting for you to make a mistake. As we see Tim Bayer get a 3-second penalty. Good for Joey Van Bussel. But, as I was saying, Maloney, he's almost like Cordor, but he's almost just like, I'm going to let you scrap and have a fight, and I'm just going to sit back here and I'm going to watch with some popcorn. That's all he's doing.
Yeah.
And this is good for him, though, because it just shows that he's got the almost superiority of being behind, and he can just watch the havoc being caused in front, and he can just wait for the moment that he wants to make a move.
Yeah, so we just had a little statistic on the screen. Lopez's tyres, his front tyres are more worn than Laminen. And that's quite critical because more wear, the rear tyres are both equal, but more wear on that front, we're going to start to see Lopez struggle with a bit of understeer here and there with a lack of grip at front, but he's holding his own quite nicely. And we say about the two Red Bulls scrapping over each other, but realistically Lopez is holding himself out there, keeping these two at bay. A bit of a brief hiccup, but other than that, doing fantastic.
Yeah. Also, by the way, if you look at the ERS, Andres Lopez has around 30% ERS right now. Thomas Laminen has 60. And so there's a very big difference.
Joe Van Bussel Alexander Johansson going into the pits. He's pitting early.
Could be good, though. Could be good, but he has then got to stretch these
wide.
lines.
There's a car wide. I think that was Bayers and Boton. I think Verger, I think they went wide, and there is now a second gap. Yeah, 1.6 second gap between Mercedes and 5th place of the McLaren. So that's caused a little stir. But the undercut be initiated by Johansson, and Laminen and Lopez will have to react.
They might. This is the thing. Although the laps are quite short, time difference can be quite big if it's the difference. But if he's gone to the mediums, which I believe he has, yes he has, he's gone off as well, which doesn't help. But for mediums, even though off the start they still only gain maybe 2-3 tenths a lap, maybe 4, probably around a half a second at most. And so there's not actually a massive time difference because it's so short here. But we see Andres Lopez, he's pulling the trigger, he's going in. So is Thomas Laminen, he doesn't want to miss that line. Cordor stays out, of course. Maloney stays out as well, but should we watch these two in the pits? Because this is going to be an important phase.
Yeah, we're going to watch them in the pits. Keep an eye on Alexander Johansson in 12th place. So we'll watch the tyres get changed. They should come out roughly at the same point in time. There you go. They do. We're going to switch to Alexander Johansson. He's pressing hard. Has those medium tyres fired up enough to jump the two ahead of him. He comes into turn 1. He's going to have superior speed. He get past it to Laminen. He's now at the rear end of Lopez. This is what he needs with his 3-second time penalty as well. It fires up. Johansson takes the lead of the race. And what a joke. It might become reality.
I have no words. I have no words right now because also Joey Van Bussel, he's also gone past Thomas Laminen. Oh, it's all falling apart for the Red Bull. Oh, I feel sad for him slightly because it's all falling apart here. You see what I mean? That one lap, even though it's half a second, that's what mattered. That half a second.
The two drivers I big up the most are coming out to play, ladies and gents. They're coming out. They're wanting to bring the confetti and chuck it everywhere while they come past everybody. Van Bussel started P10. He is in net P3. P10 to P3 in such a tight championship. You can't write this. This is beyond anything. And this hasn't even had a safety car. If you have a safety car, that turns on its head completely. I've seen even better comebacks. But for a no safety car race, this is fantastic from Van Bussel.
It is, honestly, that move as well for Jerry Van Bussel. I mean, that was good. But he really wants to jump the 2 in 5. All he needs to do is overtake Andres Lopez now. That's all he needs in today's race, is to overtake Andres Lopez, because as soon as he does that, that's the net win. That's the net win,
yeah.
And that's another win for him. And
exactly.
The fact that this guy is as a reserve driver and he's up there with the best in this tier is just, I mean, I've got no words for that, if I'm being honest. He's just been so good.
Why else do you think I praise him? His strategy is on point. His timing is phenomenal. But he's got a bit of work to do, because we know how aggressive Tuomas Lamminen is. He's a guy that just won't stop. Even when the race looks to be over, he will keep on going and make sure that pressure is constantly applied no matter what. So you keep an eye out, because this race is far from over. Lap 20 out of 36. Let's have a show, ladies and gents.
Definitely. We know that there's going to be something here. But still, I'm sure the front 3 still haven't pitted yet.
Cordo hasn't pitted.
No. He is going in now. But should we see where he comes out? Because I'm gonna go on board with Alexander Johansson right now, because I want to see how far ahead and how much he's actually gained. Because remember, Cordo was only about half a second behind him when they went into the pits.
Absolutely. So we're just riding on board with Cordo. He's going to pop in. But the real question is, how much will he lose out as round the final corner? I don't think he's going to come out. Yeah, he's going to drop down the grid. That second, fourth. Yeah, he might actually lose out to Maloney. I'm not going to lie. There you go. He's lost out so much. So staying that lots of laps lower.
And there's Ivan Santamaria as well on warm tyres. Although he's out of ERS, he's still on warm tyres, and that's what he wants.
It's P4. He was P4 Cordo, and his teammate was ahead of him. And that's the thing, his teammate was ahead of him, and he knew that he had to stay out. So deciding to go that extra bit longer, try and get some fresher set of tyres for the end of the race. He's playing the long run, but realistically, with a 1.7 gap from Maloney, that's a race ruined. I'm going to be honest here. Unless there's a safety car, that isn't looking good for him.
No. But, we haven't said enough about this, and that's the championship battle. Andres Lopez. Every lap that goes by, he must be celebrating a little bit in his head. I am 1 lap closer. It should have happened last race in Silverstone. It didn't. But I'm 1 lap closer here in Austria to winning this championship and to bringing home my first, I believe, his first ever championship in WOR. And this is going to be massive, because it depends on how much he wants to celebrate. Is he celebrating by letting off slightly, or is he celebrating by pushing even harder? We don't know yet, but he will still win the race. And it doesn't matter what happens here. All he needs to do is outscore Tuomas Lamminen by 1 point.
Absolutely, and you can see, look how defensive Jerry Van Bussel's just gone, as we did switch on board, and more contact onto the front wing of Tuomas Lamminen, and he needs to be careful, because small amount of touches like that, yes, won't massively affect, but over time will wear down that front wing. The percentage will knock onto that front wing, and he will start to feel the effect of the little bumps here and there. But yeah, Lamminen's frustrated here. He knows the championship is going away from him, and there's a first sign of struggle as he gets a bit twitchy and loses out against Van Bussel. But yeah, Lopez, he doesn't have to do anything. Hence why he's dropping back. He's nearly a second behind Johansson. And realistically, Lopez can do that. He can allow Johansson to pull away, because he's in championship winning position. All he needs to do is cross the line, P9, and he wins. He will win the championship from P9 and above. He could, if he really wanted to, back up the field. Now, whether he's listening to what I'm saying, I don't know. Because even though he does back off, he has to be careful because Van Bossel will capitalize on it. So it's managing the race correctly.
And this is the whole issue in this race. Like I said, it depends on how much Andres Lopez wants to push. Oh, there's a driver off, and that's Tim Beyer who's off.
It's
unlucky there for the
spin
for the McLaren man. Tim Beyer not been the luckiest in this race, has he? He's been caught up a couple of times in things. No, he's a bit all over the place with overheated tyres. But we kind of seen this from everybody though today. From Augustin Tolashi to Candy to Danny Coe, by the way. Danny Coe, the man we've been trying to big up for so long, as we see a move between Maloney and Cordor. Just saw that as Cordor's got him by. But as I was saying, Danny Coe, I mean, he was up in, what was it, P7, P6, and he's 14th. What happened to this man? He just, I'm feeling a bit demoralized now that he's down in P14. Honestly, I would have loved to see Danny Coe win a race. I mean, that would have been nice to see, wouldn't it? I think that's what everybody wants, of course. But if you know what I mean, you know. Oh
no, Johansson! Oh, another 3 second means that he'll be putting on 6 seconds of time penalties. I know the message that's going to come through. I still crossed the line first. That's going to be the message that's going to come through.
Excuses.
Excuses. The timing sheet says you're not. 6 seconds to his name now, and it just adds.
That will be 9th.
Yeah.
Sorry, 8th. Yeah, that will be 8th.
There has to be a miracle here.
Yeah.
There has to be a miracle. Lopez will have to massively mess up and drag everyone back for Johansson to have a shot here. Realistically, there isn't now a chance. With the 3 seconds, I could have sat here and said, actually, there is a statistical chance. You know, it's very easy to make a mistake, break the second mark, and you just go on that push, and you gain that 3 seconds. But at 6, no, these drivers are too even. That's not going to come of today.
It's not even they're too even. It's neither of them are making mistakes. None of them are making mistakes out there. This
Johansson is clearly he can't keep it in within the white lines.
But other than Johansson, none of them are making mistakes. Andres Lopez is playing it safe because he wants to win the championship. Thomas Lamminen might be the only one inside of that top 4 that is absolutely pushing. Because, and talking of Thomas Lamminen, he's struggling on these mediums. It's just like he has, it's not so much the exits, it's just like he has no mid-corner speed. It's like he has to go maybe 3-4 miles an hour slower than everybody else. And he's losing out a lot of time here. And I'm afraid to say to all Thomas Lamminen fans, I'm very sad to say, I think his championship's over.
A bit too early. Never say never.
No. I'm saying, as it stands,
yeah.
as it's been so far throughout this entire race, Thomas Lamminen has been behind Andres Lopez. This entire race, you know, from the qualifying to here, he's been behind him by quite a bit. And it isn't helping that it just isn't helping that he's got Jerry Van Bussel in the middle of that as well. Because Jerry Van Bussel, this man wants to win as well. He's going to be pushing on top of it, and that's not going to help anybody at this moment.
It's not going to help anybody for sure.
Except Jerry Van Bussel.
Yeah, except him. But at the moment, it's going to be a very much stalemate here. For this point in time, it's going to be a massive stalemate. Nothing's really going to happen. We're going to have to wait patiently for, you know, something to come around and get more drama. But We just have to be patient here, ladies and gents. We just have to sit back, wait till lap 34, and then we'll see the drivers start to really make some moves. Candy will get past Danny Coe. But
not very difficult. That was in the pits.
Oh, I've got the timing, the penalty, so it doesn't show pits.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, these drivers are all fairly close to each other. Not a lot of them are really pushing at one another. I can see the timing gaps are closing. So Santa Maria is closing down onto Maloney. Cordor's done a really good job. He's been eating away at what was a 2-second gap that Maloney created. And he is slowly catching up, but I tell you who is the reason why. Laminen's just crossed over the second mark. And he will get DRS here, but I don't think he'll have it for much more longer.
No, he's running out of VRS. Like I was saying, like we both said and agreed on, as soon as you're outside of a second, you're done. You have to really push and have that tyre life and have pace, or you're done. And if I'm being honest...
I'm just going to interrupt you just very quickly as Tim Bayer is fighting alongside Kinty. Kinty is the attacker onto this position. He goes for the switchback onto turn 6, but he just does not have the pace there. And a good attempt from Kinty, but Bayer just holding himself quite nicely. This is the battle for points. And as much as we speak about the front, we can't forget the rest of the field. And Kinty is going to get another good run and another shot into possibly turn 1, but you don't see drivers usually making the move into turn 1 just because of the disadvantage into turn 3, which, yeah, Kinty's dropped back a little bit too far to mount a move, and Perez is also going to try and catch up from the mistake that he did.
Well, I just want to talk about one drive, just for like literally 30 seconds.
I'm counting.
And that is Candy King. What happened to him? He's down 8 places. He didn't spin. He hasn't had any incidents. He's just been... I don't really want to say it, but he's just been really slow.
No, I think
is that just me?
He hasn't had an incident. He's had one.
And Kine is all over the place. He's really struggling. He's just lost another place to Nadi Perez. I'm not sure what's happening there. Jerry Van Bussel!
Oh! Oh! Okay, that just took a turn for the worse. All the hard work, all the blood, the sweat, the tears, everything that he has done and put into this drive has just been thrown out the window. And Laminen's now sitting here going, oh, yes, I'm going to be in the points, but he's still not going to be all too happy because he's not going to be in the win for the championship.
He hasn't got DRS either. He's out of DRS now. And ERS.
My DRS, my VRS. I've got no tyres. I've got no engine. GP2 engine.
I haven't even got a steering wheel.
We're out of the
That's
points.
what he's going to be saying next.
Yeah, was it? We're out of the points. I've got no tyres. I've got no pace. We're out of the points. What's the point?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Here, of course, he'll also be saying, I love the new upgrades, much slower than before.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
going to be something he'll be saying. But, okay, just please try to agree with me on this. Just a little bit.
You say that?
Laminen is pretty much said goodbye to his championship.
He said goodbye from when he was in 4th place. He's saying goodbye the entire race because Lopez is just not giving in.
No.
And that's the thing.
Jerry Van Bussel ain't either. He wants it. Do you think Jerry Van Bussel's going to try to back up the drivers slightly and just be there with Alexander Johansson and just sort of back them up? Because Thomas Laminen! Cordor's just dive-bombed him.
Oh, wow. And you can see the flashing red light from Cordor, so that's clearly he has used all his energy. But this shows, because Cordor had been eating away, and I mentioned you guys before, he'd been eating away at the timing board, slowly catching up from where Maloney was 2 seconds behind. And this is why he's now going to have to do the same work again and eat up to try and catch up to Jerry Van Bussel. Because realistically, Cordor's going to be trying to fight as much as he can because he wants to get third place here.
I do feel sad for Tuomas Laminen because I've just seen a little graphic come up on the screen. It's his tyres. They're gone. They're completely gone. It showed up to Cordor as well. There's about a 10% difference between the two of them. There's a really big difference. Tuomas Laminen, I have realised on this stint on the mediums, he's been locking up quite a lot, especially with the front tyres. And it's almost what happened to Andres Lopez in the first stint. And that is what has lost him position. And now we've got a fiery little Scuderia Ferrari, who in real life ain't that fiery, but here in Austria in WOR is fiery. Maloney wants this. He really wants this.
He does, and yes, he allowed Cordor to go ahead, and he's kept up with Cordor with his aggression. So again, a bit of strategy, not the worst one, and Jerry Van Bussel is now equaled. So that's 6 seconds apiece, and Lopez is sitting here comfortably going, you know what? This has just got even better for me. I have to play this safe here to win. You can't write this. You genuinely cannot write this. How the downfall of what was going to be a spectacular race and just gone wide. Johansson has just opened up the door for Lopez. He's now going to lose what the only leverage he has against me for today's race. It's going to come back to him. He's just saved it. But Lopez nearly just went, I might just snatch that up. And
Massive incident. Mercedes collide, I believe. There is front wing everywhere.
Massive front wing and safety car. Safety car. Oh, that's just turned the race upside down.
No, is it? No, it's virtual.
Is it virtual? No,
Yeah,
that's an SC. I definitely saw SC, but the front runners...
What's the safety car then, mate?
Oh, it's a VSC. Oh, shut up.
Mate, you should look to the mini-map, mate.
I don't have the mini-map up, but yeah, the VSC will clear extremely quickly. Lap 34 of 36. It's going to be a sprint race. There we go. We're underway once again. And lap 34, 36, you know what that means? It's time for action. It's time for the power. So this has allowed the drivers to just coop up a little bit of extra fuel, recharge a bit more of ERS so they can go for an all-out attack. And you know Lopez, he's one for pride. He will want to go for the easy overtake for a driver ahead with no DRS to defend himself. It's going to be battery pack alone that's going to keep him alive.
Also, Tuomas Laminen, mate. He's woken up. He's back. He's going for Cordor. He knows this championship, you know, he's hoping there's a chance it could come back, but he knows it's almost completely dark and it's gone. Almost, unless there's a mistake from Andres Lopez, which of course, I'm not hoping for either of them. I always a bit off there for Andres Lopez for a second. But here he comes.
It's a full-out attack. Yeah, Lopez is going to do it. Look at the tyres. Van Bussel's tyres are in the 60%. He's in danger of punctures. And actually, a few of these drivers are slowly getting there. Getting to that puncture territory. So as much as they want to attack, they've got to keep an eye. But Lopez, he's thinking about it. He looks to the inside. He decides against it. But he will just tuck right back in against Johansson. You can see the flashing red lights. That's all the information he needs. That's all the motivation he needs. He's going to power the DRS. Johansson dives to the inside, but the inside line is going to be favorable for the Red Bull driver. He keeps it to the inside, and Johansson is going to try and pounce whatever the button is left, but the inside line is in favor for Lopez, and you could see the traction the Red Bull has. He has to recoup some sort of battery to mount a further attack, because still that AlphaTauri, he's just now in the same territory, so it's down to pace alone. If Johansson wants to come back, he has a dream. He is thinking Martin Luther King, I have a dream. And he is going to do what he can, because Lopez is weaving everywhere. He knows that Johansson will do anything he can. He said today, I am going to win. And today, he's going to do more. He's even taking the penalties just to cross the line ahead. He knows he's not going to get the actual win. But what can he do? Into turn 3 he goes. Nothing here. He's going to wait patiently, and he's going to try and make the move into turn 4. Does he have the straight line speed? The answer is no. It is not there. It's not enough for him, and he's going to have to wait patiently. There's potential, maybe, good run out of turn 5. He could make a run into turn 6 and into turn 7. Then you could see he's looking for any space possible, but nothing is showing. Lopez is not budging 1 ounce throughout this race. He's been tucked behind, Lopez. The start of this race, he led it. Second stint, he was behind, but he just waited for the moment. And today, we crown a champion. We crown a winner. He did it in Britain. It got removed. He wins again. Your WOR champion is Andres Lopez. With Alexander Johansson crossing second, but because of time penalties, will drop down. Meaning that Cordell will take second, and Laminin in third, Maloney fourth, Van Bussel fifth, Johansson will take sixth, Perez 7th, Santa Maria 8th, Kinty in 9th, Verger in 10th, Bayer in 11th, Tristan in 12th, and then Robert in 13th, Danny Coe in 14th, Tolashi in 15th, and Candy in 16th.
What a race, I've got to say. I'm going to clap here right now because Andres Lopez is not only the champion, he is the most dominant driver I have seen in WOR.
I can agree with that. Because
this man's been on another level this season. He must have not won every race that he's been in, but bloody hell, he's been there all the time. It doesn't matter what you do, he is always there fighting for the win, or he's there fighting for a podium. It doesn't matter how many mistakes he makes, he's still fighting there. It's like this man makes a mistake, and he makes you still look bad. He's on another level.
He really is. Lopez is going to have his head held high for sure. And we will be trying to get a word with him for sure. I know we don't usually do interviews here, but I think today is a perfect exception. Nothing, no words can explain the run Lopez has had. It's been mesmerizing to see his record. He came out into the scene, didn't really, spark any attention. He DNF and 0 points first 2 races, but once he just had that mindset, a mental reset, he came in, win, second place. A little hiccup with not scoring. Second place, third. 2 little hiccups, back on the podium again, getting second place, and then he goes and wins here to crown himself as champion.
Yeah, I mean, I have no words to this man. He's just shown why. He's just shown there's a difference between a champion and second place.
Oh yeah,
this guy's just proven it.
Yeah, because we can't, as I said, Laminin has done a fantastic job himself, and one thing we cannot sit here and do is say that Laminin's not performed well. From the get-go, we pointed out, when his name was Tax, we sat here and said, yo, this kid has potential. He has the pace to really upset people, and he did. He did show it. He just had mistakes. He wasn't confident. He wasn't consistent throughout, but he just kept going. He got that reset. Once he had his win, from there, it just came to him. He was scoring a lot higher. He was getting that consistency coming in. That double win, back to back. I'd be happy with his performance as well.
Yeah, I mean, I'm congratulating him right now because he's too good. He is definitely going to be a driver that will stand out for the rest of time in WOR Tier 3. Like, here on PC Tier 3, he's going to be... I think you're going to have to, like, etch his name in, like, a bit of stone or something because, whatever you need. Because he is just... He's just on top of it.
So we're beginning a word with Lopez. He is safe that he does not speak enough English to do the interview, but it's been an honor to have him race with us. Realistically speaking, technically with the scoring of the positions as well, I think I think Tuomas Laminen is technically secured himself in second. There's a very low chance. I'm trying to work out the maths if he secured it because he was only 2 points ahead. It would take a miracle, for sure. Lopez is in there. He's in there.
17, yeah. 17 points is a difference.
Lopez is in the call. Lopez, I'm going to keep it short. You are WOR Tier 3 champion again. How do you feel?
Okay, thank you. Well, the first, I don't speak English, okay? I don't speak English. But I try to speak English now. It's a very good race, a very good qualifying, and the race is simple. Stay first and Thomas behind me, and I don't know, bro. Easy. For me, it's easy because Jerry is, I don't know, bro. I don't know. So it's an easy win, bro.
Are you happy to be champion? You are now champion. Are you happy to be champion now?
Yeah, bro. I'm very happy now. It's my first championship.
Yeah,
Yeah, bro. I'm very happy.
Well, you now get crowned amongst the Discord with the yellow mark. You join Maloney with that champion. You're gonna come back next year and win again.
Maybe yes.
We'll see.
I was expecting a yes, but that's okay.
Well, thank you, Lopez. You have been a joy to watch, an entertainment for us all. We do have one more race, and I'm sure you'll keep entertaining. But once again, ladies and gentlemen, Andres Lopez, champion of Tier 3 in WOR. Thank you very much, Lopez.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Yeah, what a wow! It really is no words to describe what we watched today.
Yeah. I mean, I think we both. I think we could both agree with that. It's just, I don't know. Very much like Andres Lopez. I don't know. I don't know what to say. Honestly, I don't know.
It feels weird. It's all slowly coming to this end, and we've built this up, and every season, you kind of work together. You work with the people you're with. And then you get crowned that champion, and especially when it's a race before, and you're like, right, this is awkward. Unless it's a clear dominant, then you know that second place is still going. But I know for us two together, Epic, it's gonna be the final race between us. I think I'm doing the final race solo, but always a pleasure, always a joy. You've been essentially my apprentice from when you first started, and for those who don't know, when I was in console grinding through WOR, I've started commentary since season 10, and this is my fourth season of commentary. Actually, no, I think I did season 9 as well. I met up with this man, Epic, and he has grown to being this amazing analytical color caster. And Epic, it's always an honor to work with you, and I'm sure it won't be the last.
No, it won't. I wish I could say the same kind words about you, which sadly I can't. But honestly, no, it's been an absolute pleasure to be here in PC Tier 3. I mean, we've made some memories this season, whether it's between you and me and with some of the drivers as well. We've seen some things that have never happened in WOR, and so I've got to say I'll never forget this season, if I'm being honest. I can't wait to commentate alongside you again, and just to be back here in WOR again for next season, because I'm hyped up right now.
Next season you're getting a camera, by the way. We can improve production quality. I don't have my camera on because of you, so we're gonna fight against.
Because my good looks will outshine.
Don't speak like that. That's not true. Thank you all for watching, though. Thank you very much. We will try and get a confirmed date for the rerun of the British Grand Prix, which I'll be doing by myself.
Next Monday.
Oh, the next Monday.
Yes.
Yeah, so it'll be next week. Next
Confirmed date already there, bro.
Shush. So next week we'll be having that rerun of the British Grand Prix. I'll see if I can nab somebody to entertain us all. But Epic, any last words from our lovely duo?
No. It's just been an absolute pleasure and one of the best seasons I've ever seen of any league racing. And I just want to thank everybody who's watched today, because I know I'm awful. But also I want to thank you as well, Hyper, for having me this season. And just honestly, I just want to thank everybody in WOR, whether you're watching or you just listen to it or whatever. It's been an absolute pleasure this season, and I can't wait to be back here again.
Absolutely, indeed. I'll leave my big goodbyes on the final race, but as again, Epic, lovely to commentate with you. Thank you all for watching. Stay tuned for the rerun of the British Grand Prix next week, as the action will continue, and we'll see who will be confirmed as second place and run down across the grid. Who will be where when we head to the British Grand Prix.